Now we're going to talk. Now we know what ions are. Okay. Atoms are different, ions are different. In an atom, protons are always equal to electrons. In ions, the protons are not equal to electrons because ions are formed by either gaining or losing electrons. Metals always lose electron, non-metals always gain electrons. So how would the formation of ionic bond would occur? How would it occur? Let's say NaCl है. NaCl is an ionic compound. And how did the ionic bonding take place? The charge on sodium being in group 1 was +7, which means it lost one electron. And the charge on the chlorine was -1, which means it is in group number 7 and it gained an electron which came from sodium. Moreover, there's a positive charge on sodium and there's a negative charge on chlorine. This is how ionic bonding has occurred in sodium chloride. Sodium chloride, as Jessica I just told you, and sodium atom donates its valence electron to a chlorine atom. And this is how it forms an ionic bond. How are you going to show it? You have to show the new electronic configuration. First, the electronic configuration of sodium was 2, 8, 1 because it has an atomic number of 11. What was the new electronic configuration of sodium now? Now it is an ion. It contains 10 electrons, so it would have 2 and 8 because it has lost this electron. Chlorine, having 17 electrons, had an electronic configuration of 2, 8, ये 10 हो गए, 10 plus 7, 17. This chlorine gained an electron from this sodium, and the new electronic configuration of chlorine is now 2, 8, 8, because chlorine now has a charge of -1 and it has 18 electrons. Moreover, there's a positive charge on sodium and there's an overall negative charge on chlorine. There's an electrostatic force of attraction between these oppositely charged ions as well. So we know that sodium is a group 1 metal, so we'll lose one outer electron to another atom to gain a full outer shell of electrons. A positive sodium ion with a charge +1 is formed, and chlorine is a group 7 non-metal, so it will need to gain an electron to have a full outer shell of electrons. One electron will be transferred from the outer shell of the sodium atom to the outer shell of the chlorine atom. A chlorine atom will gain an electron to form a negatively charged ion with a charge of -1, and the formula of the ionic compound will be NaCl. If we do another example, let's say of हम कर लेते हैं MgO की. So can you tell me, अगर मेरे पास, how do I form MgO? Can you tell me the number of electrons in magnesium?
1 second.
And also the number of electrons in oxygen.
Oxygen is 8 and magnesium is 12.
Okay, correct. Now, can you write down and tell me what to write down as the electronic configuration of magnesium and the electronic configuration of oxygen, like we studied in atomic structure?
It would be 1 second. Let me look at the
Number of electrons are 12. So how would you write down the electronic configuration of magnesium?
our atomic number would be 12.
It is 12. Okay. How would I write the electronic configuration? How many electrons? Total number of electrons in magnesium are 12.
Oh,
How many electrons will be there in the first shell?
here would be 2.
What about the second shell?
It would be 4.
Why 4? In the first shell, we always have 2 electrons. In the second, we have maximum of 8 electrons. In the third, we have a maximum of 8 electrons. The fourth, we have a maximum of 18 electrons.
Oh, I forgot.
So how many electrons would be there in the second shell of magnesium?
It would be 8.
And what about the third shell?
2.
2. Does this total make 12? 2 plus 8 plus 2? Yes, it is 12. What about oxygen?
Would be 2 and then 6.
Exactly, 2 and then 6. Now look at the last shell of magnesium and the last shell of oxygen. What can magnesium do to complete its outermost shell? It can either gain 6 electrons, which is impossible. So what will it do?
lose 2 electrons.
Lose 2 electrons. And what will oxygen do?
It will gain 2 electrons.
It will gain 2 electrons, exactly. So the 2 electrons lost from magnesium would be gained by oxygen. Now the magnesium is going to have a charge of +2 and oxygen would have a charge of -2. So how are we going to show that in the form of अगर मैं कहूँ एक अगर मैं structure बनाता हूँ यहाँ पे. Now I'll draw the structure that how am I going to show that in the paper. First मैं यहाँ पे brackets लगाऊंगा. I'll draw two brackets and I'm only going to show the new electronic configuration, not the old one. Old one क्या थी? 2 8 2 for magnesium and 2 6 for oxygen. Now, can you tell me the new electronic configurations for both of them?
Could be 2 8 and then 2 8 for the oxygen as well.
Yeah, exactly. 2 8 for magnesium and 2 8 for oxygen. तो यहाँ पहले मैं बनाऊंगा magnesium and यहाँ पे बनाऊंगा oxygen. ऊपर इसके चार्ज डालूंगा +2, यहाँ पे -2 and I'm going to show the first में अगर देखेंगे यहाँ पे 2 होंगे and the second one I'm going to make 8. Oxygen maybe I'm going to make 2. And in the second shell, I'm going to, I'll show this by cross. Okay, I'll use a cross to show oxygen. Okay, magnesium can be shown by a circle and oxygen will be shown by a cross. You have to make this key as well. I'll show oxygen electron by a cross. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But remember, you have to show two circled electrons as well. Why? Because they came from magnesium. Got it?
Yep.
Because these are the two
We
electrons.
we can just draw the valence shell, right?
Yeah, we are going to draw the valence shell. No need to draw this inner shell. We cannot draw current. Don't draw the inner shell. Let's only show the balance shell. Okay? And if I only show the valence shell, let's draw the valence shell only, like you said. So how am I going to show the valence shell only? यहाँ पे हम दोबारा draw करेंगे. Okay. Only the outermost shell. The outermost shell of magnesium contains 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What about oxygen? Oxygen would also have 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And 2 electrons came from magnesium, which will be showed as circles. Got it?
Yep.
And this is how, and also you also have to label that this is magnesium ion and this is oxygen ion. This is how you show in your IGCSE exam.